Hey now. So a question I get periodically is how do I track my collection? So when I went through divorce, and it's no secret that I went through a divorce, probably one of my largest assets was my autograph collection, which you could see behind me. And it's easy to look at, but when it came to tracking the assets and putting a value on all the assets, it was time we had to get an appraisal, and I didn't want necessarily someone to come here, which had to happen. But long story short, I had to learn. I didn't have to learn. I was already ready for the appraiser to come into my home. I had to get stuff out of the bank, obviously, bring everything here. And I had inventory of everything material ready to go for the appraiser because time is money. And when you hire an appraiser to do stuff, they charge usually by the hour. So you want them in, you want them out. And I do this because I do valuations. I know how it works. Now, the really important thing is to be ready way before you start to appraise your collection and keep track of your collection. So the one critical thing important to me is for me to track materiality. And that basically means everything that's of significant value to me, which is usually all my baseball Hall of Fame autographs. Doesn't matter who they are. It could be Jim Leland. It could be Frank Chance, as well as other important signatures I had in my collection of all the sports, whether it's Tiger Woods, Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, anything to me that's worth, let's say, more than $100, I make sure I inventory. And I want to share with you now exactly how I inventory. So if I could go back in time and do things a little bit different, I'm just going to share my screen in a second here. I would have actually added more detail than less. So this right here is Photobucket, and I was on Photobucket 15 years ago before my collection really expanded, and I use folders in Photobucket. So, for example, real quickly here, and I don't know, I'm not going to. I want to skip, for example, I just picked up a John Bruce autograph, and I talked about it. You can watch the analysis. So, in my collection, you can see, for example, I have listed all the players. In addition, I have the information about the autograph. So, for example, you see this is William Bill Kerrigan at the 1954 government postcard. Going back in time, this is the number one lesson I wish I would have done more. I didn't do when I started collecting this. I would, in addition to the item description, I would have put exactly where I got it, how much I paid for it. I wish I did that. I don't know. I mean, I could figure out today what it's worth, but it's so important when eventually, when it comes to estate purposes, valuation purposes, tax purposes, you're going to have to need a cost basis. And I get calls all the time. I got such and such when I was a kid. I don't know what I paid for it for cost basis. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff I don't know either. It would be a guesstimate. So, but again, this is an Eddie Collins, Bob Quinn. I mean, it's not the names as much as everything else. And then right here, you can see real quickly here. I'll go back to my autographs folder. I want to go to, let's see, baseball future Hall of Famers and current superstars. So these are like, to me, current superstars, although I'll be honest, Tim Anderson and Eloy Jimenez could go. But for example, Paul Skeens, this is a $500 autograph right now. Granted, this is only his second year. And I mean, if I go right here, I pull it up, I have some information about it. I wish I had more. I see it's MLB certified. It's important for valuation purposes. That's first person authenticated, not third person authenticated. So I have information about that. And yes, I could pull it up. I probably have emails on some of these. Again, my Otani autograph. Again, this is now, let's say, this is probably close to a $3,000 autograph, believe it or not. And I have right here, it's Fanatics and MLB certified. So, but again, everything I have, so God forbid something happens to me, my house and everything is pictures that I took of these autographs, as you can see right here. Chris Sale, Mookie Betts. I mean, granted, I probably should clean this out. Chris Bryant no longer belongs in here. Neither does David Price. But once something's in here, honestly, it usually stays in here. But again, like Justin Verlander, again, this is hopefully, usually if I got it in person, I usually say where I got it in person on Tiger Fest 12117. So that's some good information. Honestly, I wish I had some better information in here. And that's a key takeaway for anyone looking at this. Now, again, right here, we could drop down to my Baseball Hall of Fame autograph collection. And again, all the information is in here. And then right here, you can see all 301 of my baseball Hall of Famers are in here, and I could sort them. Right now, they're sorted by day I uploaded it. So, for example, this Max Carey autograph I got fairly recently. What do I have? Like double signed, full name, 1970 tax return. So this is great information if someone wanted to figure out the valuation of this. What this is not going to tell you is, okay, what did you really pay for this? So again, I look back with a little bit of regret. I should have done that with a lot of these, but you see right here going back, a lot of these again right here, government postcards. Maybe something. Well, Larry Lajoie always put the date on it, but maybe taking pictures of the front and the back, looking back, may have been a better idea. So these are some of the things that I've learned. So again, it's so important to have insurance on your collection, and it's not just, God forbid someone breaks in. It's more if, God forbid, there's a fire. Some of the items I have literally are irreplaceable. Fred Clark check, obviously, we can replace. Even a Tony Lazzari check. I mean, these are pictures. I need proof that I actually own these autographs. And instead of listing everything, I have pictures of everything. And another thing I like about it is the fact that when I go somewhere and someone wants to see an autograph, I used to, like 20 years ago, schlep my autographs with me. Now I just can pull up my phone. There's a Photobucket app. Makes it much easier to track. And something to keep in mind with insurance, and you hear about this all the time. The odds are your homeowner's insurance will not cover autographs. It's additional policy you're going to need. So you need a specialty policy. This is totally unsolicited. I use collectible insurance. I know most of the hobby does, it seems. They're very easy to work with. They're great. So that's who I work with. But again, just going through how I track my collection, again, going down to the autographs right here. And it goes further down. I break it out just by sport. Well, I have some Hall of Very Good. Baseball is broken out because those are my favorite. One thing I started doing, see football, some even golf. I started to pay attention to what stuff I don't have anymore, like a Max Carey check, a Willard Brown. And I'm glad I started to do this. I have some like fakes in mine, Goose Goslin that I, again, no good, I got rid of. I know if you go back and you watch, these are not all, I know some of these I never owned. They were so bad, I had to put them somewhere. Like, it's interesting just to track where some of these autographs go. They pop on eBay once in a while. I mean, I have like the my old Mordecai Brown check. I know I had this at one time. I know where it is now. But again, that's something else you may want to consider. But again, the key thing is figuring out what your materiality is. And for some people, it's 100. For some people, it's 1,000. It may only be $10 to you, but that's what you want to keep track of. So once you start keeping track and taking pictures, and it's really, once you get started, it's much easier to keep track of. So now that you have everything, pictures, organization, you have your cost basis, everything grouped together in one spot, you want to consider an exit strategy, whether it's selling because you want to make a profit on it, because like me, you got divorced, estate tax purposes. There's a lot of reasons you need to value your collection. That's something I can do. I don't do that very often. I have done it before, but it's again, when I did value the collection, I had to go to a person's house. So we were uncovering things left and right. There was no organization at all. And that makes it more difficult for you and more expensive for you. So that's something you completely want to avoid. You don't want to do that to your descendants, because the collection, unfortunately, the person who collected passed away very suddenly in a tragic automobile accident. And I was called in after the fact. And like I said, there was stuff upstairs in the basement. We were uncovering crazy things. Michael Jordan upper deck signed baseballs, and there was no organization. So it cost them more money, unfortunately. And again, because I didn't know what they paid originally, we had assumed the basis was closer to zero than it was closer to, let's say, $3,000 for the Michael Jordan basketball. And because of that, they had to pay more taxes on it. So really make sure. I mean, I can create a spreadsheet for you even if you want it. You can do it in Excel, but it's very tough to embed pictures into Excel. Can be done. I recommend using like Photobucket or some other software where you can embed pictures into the software program. And again, store it on the cloud. My son has all my passwords. My daughter has all my passwords. God forbid something happens to me. I'm not looking to go away or anything like that, but you always have to be prepared for the worst. So if you have any questions on the Sports Card CPA, thank you so much for watching. And as always, keep collecting.